Okay, so I think we're ready to get started. I've used the same size here, a 12 by 12. This is actually a gesso board. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually wood that's been gessoed. So that's the only difference from the other canvases that I've already done. It's the same size. And I've got my paint all mixed up. I use all Artist Loft metallic paints. So metallic black, metallic white, metallic yellow, metallic red, and metallic orange. So for a 12 by 12 canvas, I've mixed up 66 grams of paint and Floetrol. I made a 2-to-1 ratio with paint and Floetrol. So this is the Floetrol, for those of you that aren't familiar with it. And I do it all by weight on my kitchen scale over here. So I have my paints all mixed up and I am ready to start layering my cup. Okay, so here I have my red solo cup. Unfortunately, it's not see-through on the side, so you can't see the layers as well. But this is a 12-ounce cup. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the paint colors. What I discovered when I showed you those 3 paintings at the beginning, it matters what the order of the colors are. I'm trying to duplicate the yellow tornado. My husband asked for a copy of that. So that means that I am going to put down the white color first. I'm just going to pour the white in quickly. It doesn't really matter. Try and get as much paint out of here as possible. You know, I figured out that the paint amount charts that are on our Facebook page are a little bit under. So there's the white in the bottom of the cup. Now I'm going to add yellow, and what I discovered for this tornado is that the second color you add is the color that dominates the canvas. And I don't really want these colors to mix because I think they would look really muddy if they did. So I'm going to see if you can see this. I'm going to pour this in really slowly and down the side of the cup. So can you see that? That I'm just barely putting that down the side of the cup so I don't just plop it in. And I want that yellow to stay layered on top of the white and not mixing in with the white. So now I'm gently going to set this down. Get the last bit of yellow. This is metallic lemon yellow, I believe is the actual name of the color. Artist Loft brand all. Now the next color, I'm just going to do lighter to darker. So this is orange. You can see the yellow in the cup there. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to slide it down the side so that it makes a little pool there, but it doesn't really mix. And I can go maybe a little bit faster. Okay, next color is the red, same idea. And finally, the metallic black. This metallic black is actually, I tend to think of it more as a really dark gray. So I don't tend to use it a lot in my paintings, but in this particular type of painting, I used all metallics everywhere else, and I wanted to keep that metallic sheen on all the paint colors. So I used the metallic black for this one, and it worked out really well. Okay, so now all the paint is layered in the cup. I think you can see that there's rings of paint. And where I was pouring it down the side is where I'm going to start pouring out here. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour relatively quickly right in the middle. And I'm just going to let it form its own rings. So you see there's the black. And here comes the red. You see how it's forming its own rings already? This is going to seem like a heck of a lot of paint, but you'll see by the time that you move it around, it's not that much paint. Okay, so the red is still coming out. You can see I'm pouring it relatively quickly. I'm not moving my hand around, or at least not intentionally. I'm just letting it all come out and make its own rings and own patterns of color. And here comes the orange. Can you see that? I don't know why I asked the camera questions. Oh well. I apologize for the football game in the background. It's Saturday and my husband is watching college football. You see the orange is now coming out. It's kind of pretty. It's mixing in with the red. What I found though is, like I said before, the next to last color is a color that tends to dominate. So a lot of that red and orange won't really be showing up in the final product. You'll see what I mean in a second. And I'm still going here, still with the orange. Makes pretty swirls, doesn't it? There's a little bit of yellow starting to come out. And there isn't really a sharp transition between the orange and the yellow, is there? I'm waiting to move my hand until the last color starts to come out. And that's the white. And it feels like it takes forever. And I know you're all watching impatiently too. I'm getting a little distracted. But you'll see, the quicker you pour, the more the rings take over. Okay, here comes the white. So now I'm going to move my hand just a little bit. Going to be a straight line. And I'm going to stop right here and keep pouring. And just make another dot of pouring now that the white is coming out. I don't go all the way beyond the boundary of the red here. I just stop right here so that the line that I made is going to be the funnel, and this circle here is going to be the top of the vortex. And I'm watching carefully. I'd really rather not have that top of the vortex go over the top or go over the edge of the canvas. But it might. If you start to see the paint stop dripping like that, you need to pour faster or stop pouring, you're done. Okay. We're almost there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my hand into it like that to catch any drips, and I still had a little drip there, didn't I? Darn it. Oh well, hold on. Okay, I realized that you couldn't really see what I was doing, so here is actual picture of what it looks like before I start tilting. This is where I poured originally. I waited until the last color came out, moved it up here, and then stopped here again and let the rest of the paint colors pour out. Okay, I got my gloves on. I'm going to take my little torch and get rid of any air bubbles before I tilt. There's a lot of air bubbles actually. Okay, now I'm going to tilt it, and I'm going to try not to lose that entire vortex off the side. So the first way I'm going to go is this way, so unfortunately it's away from the camera, but you'll get the general idea. And there isn't a lot of extra paint for this one, so every time you're tilting, you're always moving the mass of paint back to the middle. And now I'm going to go down for this corner a little bit. Come back to the middle. Back over here, and I do this thing with my hand on the corners to try and catch the extra paint so I don't lose it all off the edge. I'm still moving that funnel back to the middle because that's kind of where I want it. And same thing down here for this one. I'm moving it back to the middle. Okay, now I'm going to try and do this corner, and without losing all of my vortex. Ooh. Okay, move that back to the middle, and then and there we go. Doesn't look as neat as the other ones. I think the paint doesn't move as well on a gessoed canvas or a gessoed board as it does on a canvas. So I'm not sure if I'll keep this one, but you've got the general technique here. I would say that this line here is from where I trailed the canvas, and you can take a little skewer and just kind of make that a little bit less noticeable by following the lines that are around it. It's a little less noticeable anyway. All right, thanks everyone.